Yeah, yep, you're ready to go.
Let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Josh Earl,
Present.
Gwen Hoffman, Mitch Magnus,
Present.
Larry Phillips,
Present.
Charlie Pierce,
Present.
Reed Petty,
Present.
Joel Williams,
Present.
Wayne Cohn.
Present.
You have a full vote.
Okay, sure. Wayne, would you pray for us, please?
I will do it. Please stand. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you tonight to say thank you. Thank you for our city, thank you for our state, and thank you for our country. Lord, as we go forth tonight with this meeting, we just say thank you for those who are willing to give of their time to make these decisions for the citizens of Harrison. Lord, give us the wisdom we need to make the right decisions and the decisions we have tonight. Go with us, guide and direct us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Join me in the pledge. I
pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated, please. Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of July 9th.
So moved.
Second. Motion, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Let's move right to department heads. Chief Grady.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I placed the monthly report up there. Well, we got a large agenda tonight, so didn't see anything out of the ordinary, but what's been going on in the past, unless y'all have some questions. We'll probably let you know, which by August 1st, we're gonna be down 2 slots. We've actually had 2 officers that's came and tendered resignation. We will be looking to replace those officers. One switched departments and one's going into a different career. We've been full for quite a while, so it's better than a lot of departments. Thank you.
All right, Chief, thank you. Public Works, wait.
Brief as well. Updates on a few projects. Goblin Drive's moving along pretty good as far as everything that we need to have done for that road to be open before school starts. Paving is scheduled to start August 3rd. We expect final striking to be that Friday before school starts, and then everything ready to go by the time we get to August 10th. I'm actually meeting next week with some district personnel just to talk about logistics of the ongoing work that's not within the roadway once school starts, just to make sure we're coordinating everything. And we don't want to put into any issues for the first, final couple of months of wrapping up everything on the project. Biggest delay, biggest concern, really anything out there right now is our street lighting. That contractor, we've seen a little activity. There's been a lot of communication back and forth between the general contractor and their sub about that. Don't really have any permanent updates on what we're going to do to resolve some of these problems. So again, that aspect of the project does not prevent us from getting the road opened up. So we'll proceed with that as we can. Don't have a whole lot on the RDOT projects in town other than I'm sure everybody's seen they've announced the ribbon cutting on the bridge opening for August 14th. So looking forward to that.
No roundabout on the bridge. We're gonna just go straight through.
Go straight through it again. Be a heck of a bridge, but it's probably take a little bit longer. We did get permission from the state to install minutes permits to do what we call RRFBs. Those are rapid rectangular flashing beacons at a couple locations. One is central there by World Houston. And then the other is actually our mid-block crossing on Cats on that newer sidewalk. So I have to put together construction plans and get those approved, but hopefully we'll get those up pretty quick. We're also looking at some enhanced pedestrian crossings up by Creekside. That road's got some speed, not speed issues, but your average speed there is to the point that the rectangular beacons, which you see in a lot of cities, it's just, you got the sign on the side of the road, you hit a button and it flashes to let people know there's pedestrian there. With the speeds on that part of South Pine and Highway 7, they pretty well told us we're gonna have to look at what's called a pedestrian hybrid beacon, and that's gonna put stuff over the road. We've got a traffic studies, so yeah, I'm just kind of letting you know that's what we're looking at. Let's get the traffic studies going to see what intersection would be best there. And then we will have to do quite a bit of improvements to any of those intersections to make it ADA compatible. They're one of them that's a candidate is kind of close to ADA compliant, the other one's really not. And so also at the state level, there's some new sources of water funding that have started to become available through some allocations at the legislature. We are working on getting a couple of projects submitted on those. One is our Coach Spring project that's under contract, but we don't technically start construction until probably November when the equipment comes in. So we're putting that one in, and then a project that we've got on the horizon that we're trying to get funded through this is replacement of our UV disinfection system for wastewater treatment plant. That's about a $500,000 project. So it'd be a good thing, really good if we can get in. This should be an annual opportunity for funding. So as with most grants, you ask and then you keep asking, and that kind of leads me into my build grant, which we had talked about last week. We were not selected in this round. I have a debrief at some point in August with the DOT to kind of for them to give me a little feedback on what we can do better when we submit it again. We submitted on other grants. There were only 2 projects in Arkansas awarded this year. Both were in Northwest Arkansas, over in Benton, Washington County. So that's what we're competing with. But as I said, when we first started going into this process, we want to position ourselves where we can keep chasing these DOT grants for these projects and start getting in line. Other than that, be happy to real quick on the trail project. We are working on getting our VAT mitigation in place. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife and one of the companies that does this. So we're working on that, as well as RDOT has requested a few more changes to some of our grades and stuff on the trail. We're getting those done. We can start acquiring these before too long. If I get the VAT mitigation taken care of. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any question.
Like that mitigation.
We're just to say VAT habitat mitigation.
Okay.
We're not hurting that.
Yeah, I did want to point out, Ericksville District met last Tuesday, and Mr. Mayor, Dr. Pratt and the board wanted to make sure that we publicly thank the city for the efforts and specifically for the speed. I know a lot of people have been frustrated with that. Done a wonderful job to get ready for the school opening. So they wanted me to make sure publicly that the board extended their appreciation to the city in a new way, individually, in particular.
I can tell you Wade's out there, that we're counting the days.
Some people think he's a student.
Well, I will compliment Kraus. I know they're coming through the crews right now because you're also fighting. And so it's hard to do those 12, 13-hour days that they really feel like they need. But they're starting at 4 a.m. They're looking at even shift into deeper hours in the evening, is I guess early morning, as you could say. As we continue to see heat get worse, because next week's not looking good. We could stand on it.
Okay.
No, day before, I think you touched on it, the RDOT projects include, does that include stoplights?
The stoplights, I've not seen a whole lot of activity on those.
So they, I mean, what's holding I just want to know.
Is the contractor. It's been the biggest delay on all of those.
So they look like they're up though.
They still got another one to take down. I do think Kraus is probably gonna focus on Goblin for the next couple of weeks before they put a lot of that first one there, part back there. But
So it's signal anchors that we're waiting on.
right now, the signal people still have more work to do up there.
Okay.
So it's hard for, well, and I can't ask them to do anything, it's not a contract. I have no authority out there at all. But right now, I would prefer them out there Goblin. Because I need that up before school starts, and I can't stop them. But I can also charge them $5,000 a day, so if the janitor just hit that road, it's not. For every day, and so that's where they're putting pride. The state has given them an extra 100 days on this contract.
On
The signals, the northerners, yeah. Yeah, they had 100 days, roughly 100 days, so they're making business decisions on where they have to take their.
We're hoping that when Goblin opens, then we see the activity out there on the streets.
well, I mean, our town right there just tore up.
Sure,
So it's,
and there's a lot of reasons behind
it
it.
may have been quick in progress, but it does not seem that it's been very quick.
Unfortunately, that is the state of highway construction and what we have to deal with the project. Like I said, I put $5,000 a day in liquidated damage on our Goblin contract, so that's why we're getting it. That's a massive.
Josh, I was got the police frustrated as you are, alert and knowledge. We have no say in the matter, but we do expect things to change from Scotland's done, because that's where she's concentrating right now.
So we don't have any involvement in the pavement in the area that the price throughout.
Yeah, that's the city, that is the city street, and we are partially funding the project, but that project is entirely administered by our. And they're responsive, but again, I can't. Well, and when they've gone through their protocol for weather delays, facility delays and stuff like that, and have added 100 days to contract. There's nothing I can really do about that. It's-
Getting the signal light contractor there was the biggest problem. Now they've been there, yes, they're not complete.
No.
Now if they would have gotten there 3 months ago, I think it might be. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's not the general contractor's part, of course, not our, and definitely not the cities, but it is unfortunate.
Right.
Yeah.
Like as citizens of the state. Is there anyone at RDOT that we might be able to contact with private citizens to help motivate them to move this along?
I think RDOT's pretty motivated. It's just the nature of where we're at. I mean, we call the local district office. I don't think it's gonna change anything. I mean,
For the trial.
I can tell you they're painfully aware of what the job done as much as anyone else. But when there are legitimate utility delays because one of the utilities doesn't move their line enough, so when they lose them off, wait, we need to get out there and do that. That's not on our lot, that's not on, that's really not on the signal company. But those are issues that have happened. We've had those issues happen a lot. I've had to have them come back out. There's been stuff that out on harness that not utilities, drainage work that nobody knew about, underground drainage. I've had to go back and lower the line twice because it wasn't on the plans for me to get my line back. These are the things you get into when you're working underground. Wish it was perfect, but it's not.
Well, I think few sessions ago, the holdup was, we were told that it was the signal people.
It is.
The signal people are out there.
They're not done.
And nothing has really changed,
I can tell you they're not done,
so,
but they are still.
or we were waiting on signals, sorry. And they were taken out there and nothing has.
And I give them an additional 100
They
days.
gave 100 days. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I were Cross Construction, I was looking at $5,000 a day on one job, or I've got another 2 months. You know, I can go a few more weeks out there, and then get out there, and I've still got another 2 months.
Is there any place where louder citizen voices would be helpful?
I'm not gonna recommend that. the sheer amount of investment by RDOT in this community. I'm not going to recommend that. The signal company.
Now, and you know, Wade, I understand the community doesn't see what happens here. With Wade and even myself, talking to that contractor constantly and hearing how frustrated she is and knowing the whole situation. They just see it sitting there and nothing's there. We need to get it done. And I hear it, we all hear it. And if there was anything, I promise you, anything we can do to move that along faster, we'd do it.
I've stomped my feet and I've complained and I've thrown my fits. I'm not gonna do it publicly here.
Yeah, we've been frustrated for 4 months, 4 months. We got a call last week. City Water Department was out there working. They had to replace a line right in the middle. They had to do it at night to shut off the water for the med. They couldn't shut off the med during the day. Well, people were calling, we woke them up. And that was unfortunate. But that's another thing that has transpired in the whole deal. It's just, I'll tell you, 6 months from now, when that thing's done, it's gonna be beautiful. Kind of like Wendy's was, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Construction is,
Perfect.
it's ugly,
Yes. Yeah.
especially road and highway. And
Wait, you have our support here and our thanks. If there's any area where our influence might be more helpful,
We would call on you immediately.
council or citizens in the community, and we all have homes and homes of mine.
Let's just hope that after Goblin opens, we see something. That's our hope. Like you said, we don't control it, but that's our hope.
So thank you.
thank you.
Okay, we are down to Chief Howard. Sorry it took so long.
Yeah, so that's okay. I'm gonna make it quick.
No, I'm glad it did, and really,
Quick.
Josh, I'm glad we had this discussion.
Well,
It'll be out there, and the
I
people
hope
need
so.
that, they
It doesn't
need
seem like
it.
everyone's very happy. But,
I do understand.
no, answering questions.
Oh. Good evening, Mayor and Council, and before you is the June monthly report from my department. I'm not gonna spend any time going over it unless you have any questions. I did want to report, I think I told you last month about the incident we had down in Harmon with the little girl that was trapped in the culvert. I want to just report that she is home doing well, so that's where again, a bunch of agencies working together saved a life. We could be prouder of that, everybody involved in that, so. If there's any questions, I'll get out of the way. Thank y'all.
Yes, you bet.
I'll just report sales tax. We got that in today. As you can imagine, it's not record breaking, but that will be this last month, you know, when gas prices are this high, we're probably not going to. The good news is, we were just a little bit off, from where we budgeted and just a little bit down from last year. So, all in all, still good. And, you know, overall for the year, we're still above budget, and still above, prior year. So, that's all I got for finance for now, and I think that's most of it. Do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to talk about that on the agenda?
Either one. We'll just wait.
Okay, let's see here. David, you've got a report tonight.
Good evening, council. It's good to see everybody. I wanted tonight to introduce you to Caden Carlson. He was an intern with the college this last spring, and we have budgeted every year money to hire somebody for some employment to help me out in the summer, and kind of him being in the internship. Of course, he didn't get paid during that time, but he did a good job. So we hired him for the summer, and he's been a huge help to me and to the city this summer, and we appreciate all of his effort. But I wanted to introduce you to him. He graduated from North Ark and with an IT 2-year associate's degree. He's got a small business certificate as well. And Wayne, you'll like this. He's got an every address.
That sounds great.
Yeah, sounds pretty good to me too. No, but he's, but I just wanted to introduce you, but we've been really busy and, he's been able to fill in and fix and go to vacation, so it'll be nice to have him here covered for me. So if anybody has any questions, not just about that or wants to say anything, or you want to say anything, Katie? Yeah. So anyway, any questions for me or?
You get to keep him full time? You get to keep him full time?
I wish. No, I think August 18th is his last day. There's a 90-day window, but yeah, we'd love that to happen. We'll see. Well, maybe sometime down the road, if everything works out. So,
Maybe your heir apparent, your heir apparent one day, your replacement.
really? Do you want that? Okay, there you go. It's done. Maybe I'll work for him. So anyway, thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to.
Dave's also been a really big help at Creekside, so I want to say thank you for all your hard work at Creekside with us too this summer, because it's been a lot of people there, so it's been good. Great news, our membership total is 5,466 people. So we climbed almost 20 from just Tuesday, so we're still heading in the right direction. Again, our goal at the end of the year is 6,000, so hopefully that's still a attainable goal. Right now we got a couple of projects going on. One is the splash pad and playground project at the Hickory Bay Sports Complex. They're pouring concrete right now, so all the equipment is up. They have to pour some concrete, then they'll be putting on the pour and play surface, and then they'll be finishing up the splash pad. I'm not gonna give a date on that, but we're hoping we can open that. We'll leave it a full summer before it gets cold. We can open that up. That'll at least use a little bit that this summer. We'll also be adding a few playground features to the fairgrounds park. That will be donated from Rotary and Ozark Opportunities, so we're doing a little bit of work out there on that side of town as well, upgrading that. So we want to thank them. The big news is August 7th, thanks to the mayor, David, we'll be having Hannah Harper concert at Creekside Amp. I think we've sold 2,000 tickets and we opened it back up for 500 more to sell. So that will be our capacity for that concert, and I think we'll sell out pretty easy. So that's gonna be exciting. And then August 8th at the outdoor pool, we're gonna do this again this year. We're gonna do a back to school bash swim, where it's a free swim day at the outdoor pool for all the families to go before school starts that next Monday. We had a volleyball tournament today. We had 18 teams there at Creekside. We partnered with Valley Schools to do that. It was a fundraiser for them. And then we have our Ozark Slam Fest volleyball tournament on August 29th, and we already have 22 teams scheduled for that. So we haven't been able to have that tournament in 5 years, so we brought it back, and we've got 22 teams, which is the most we've ever had in that tournament signed up. So, and that's a lot to do with Creekside and the quarterly. So we're very excited to be doing that again. And then Luke and I have been working on corporate memberships this last month. So that's kind of what we've got going on at Parks now. And I wanted to keep it short, so if you have any questions, feel free to answer.
Comment, I've had three people, there's nothing that can be done about this, the heat. The splash pad is obviously why they were coming there. But they said that the tire material inside is too hot for people to use it when the sun's directly over. And suggested that we put those nets over, kind of like we did on the splash pad. And I said that would be great. How much are you willing to start the fund to do that? And they did not drop anything. One of those individuals was from here in town, and 2 of them were outside our county, and they came to our park to have birthday parties. So they rented the pavilion and had a birthday party there for the park in the splash pad. So again, you have 20 people come into town from outside the county to experience what we have here. They did mention that there were a lot of ants in the pavilion on the Carpenter ants, and I'll let you know. I didn't mean to do it publicly, but I'm telling you.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. Like I said, we got a lot more people using our facilities, so we're learning a lot more things every day, and we'll take care of it as it comes in.
Again, 20 children, roughly, 30 parents on each of those groups. They came to Harrison and spent, the afternoon or day here.
Yeah, no problem. We'll take care of it, and thanks for letting me know that. Everything else?
All right, thank you, Chuck. Okay, let's, jump into business. New business, we're back to you, Mitch.
Oh, okay. We'll start out with financial statements from Luke. He gave you both December and May in front of you.
So we're gonna go over, I think, is it May that's on there first, is that correct? Sorry, on the agenda, I think the current one leaves off, but it's not.
No, it's not, it's not very big. Let's just shoot it.
Okay, so May financials, I just kind of wanted to touch, I didn't actually see something after I printed it, so I wanted to kind of bring that to your attention. On the revenues on the general fund side, I actually added the property sales into the regular revenue rather than down below. So it's kind of a non-operating, and so it kind of gives it a little bit different look. So once you take out our property sales, which are the old senior center, and I believe Robinson is in there as well. That's $320,000 of that revenue, so that's not typically on there. So it really needs to be in the non-operating. I also found, as I was kind of doing all these, there is a couple checks that have not been cut. Part of it is we've not received an invoice, so I'm trying to get ahead of it tomorrow, and we'll get those cut. It amounts to about $125,000. It's an offset to a revenue. But if you take those out, general funds actually back down to 34,000. So it looks a little different. So I just want to highlight those particular points. Moving across, water's in a good position, parks is in a pretty good position. Street has a very large negative. Of course, if you remember, we did that big paving project. And that's where part of that came into their operating, $1 million roughly out of operating, which we had that in the street fund to be able to do. So, infrastructure is a negative that fluctuates depending on what projects we have. And obviously Goblin is a big one that's cut that down. Moving across, fires in a good position, and police, as we've talked about in the past, to catch up at the end of the year. So
you just said, I'm not, again, I qualify this stuff now, I'm pointing out something that people need to know. So your, essentially your surplus for fire is what? So far this year?
88,000.
So we're 88,000 ahead of our expenses right now.
Correct.
And now, once again, as you pointed out, it's front loading the expense in the first part of the year, because we're gonna look at December in a minute. What is the deficit for police funds right now?
247,000.
Okay. So we need to, there's a lot of information, and Mayor, you're gonna have, you guys are gonna have to do some work to make sure everybody understands. Obviously, before the election, if we approve the sales tax.
If there was one thing I would love to figure out is how to let everybody know something.
Right.
It's so difficult today. I mean, in the last 4 years ago, we had no communications. Now we have a full-time communication person that I think we all agree is doing a terrific job. When I think Josh mentioned it, that we weren't communicating maybe enough on the projects. And I understand that. I don't disagree with you, but not only we put out a video, we did a column, all of this strictly on the projects with the Harrison Daily Times. Donna then again posted the column, and she was going to look up. I bet we've had so many views and all that, but you just still have a hard time getting through there. I don't know, did you guys see our video in the column about the highway projects? I'm just curious. I think if we can't, yeah, it's.
But it was only in the paper on Facebook.
Right, I understand, not everybody looks at Facebook, and not everybody reads the paper. But,
It's on our website.
I tried to be nice.
And Mayor, that's also on the Harrison, city website, harrisonAR.gov.
I don't know if you look at that. And I'm not arguing with you, believe me, I'm glad you brought that up, it gave us another opportunity to talk about that, because it is an issue that people don't understand why it's just sitting there. So, but having that ability to communicate with people, remember, 40 years ago, we had Harrison Daily Dodgers and Katie Josie, that was it. Now today, we got 10 million ways, so, okay, where are we?
That's just informational, only you don't have to prove that, so. Yes. Again, encourage you to take it back, look at it. See if you do have any questions that pop up, I'd be happy to answer those, and I will send out the updated number, with the non-operating part of it, corrected, so that way you see it in the right location.
Luke, the budget increase, is that at or below the rate of inflation?
Budget increase.
Your annual budget, when you go through it, 2%, 3%, generally a 2% increase.
So less than the rate of inflation. Thank you for the total understanding.
I think this thing is not me, but I don't need to, it's a budget to actual.
Well, we can go ahead and do that. I didn't see that.
Yeah. They're not too good.
No.
We'll just wait on it. Okay. Can we go ahead and discuss December? If we have it,
We can, that's part of that budget adjustments actual, what we've done here.
right?
So I can kind of go on that kind of sheet if you want to. Again,
The budget.
looking kind of where we're at, water and sewers in a good position, general's in a good position. Basically across the board. The one things again that are down for the street, again, we did more paving projects last year than we've done in the past. Fire is down, but if you remember, we built a fire station. So to be able to build a fire station and be in that position, we did a really good job of watching what we were spending, so. And then police, I say we catch up at the end of the year, we were right at break even, so, it held true, basically. What held true the last 2 years, held true again in 25, and I fully expect it to hold true in 26.
So on probation, is there ever gonna be a wash where it breaks even, or what process are we not doing to collect those fees?
So the probation department is, it's actually housed in the county offices.
It is a shared part.
Yes, so we have budgeted a transfer to move some money in there, as well as the county has done the exact same thing. To be able to fund that probation officer. It's not self-sufficient anymore, so the laws have changed to where they're not able to collect as much as they used to. And we've actually, again, we talked about cutting. We knew that was drastically going down. We cut an entire position out of that. They were able to do that because of the state law change. Not being able to collect quite as much, so we cut that position. We're still now, so now we're down to one, and they do the entire county. And so there's not enough fees that are, what's the word I'm looking for, Chris? There's not enough fees charged to the people that are being put on probation to be able to self-sustain that one individual. So that's why the county and the city fund that, so we do have a probation officer in the. Fees are being collected, yeah, $39,000 in fees for last year, it just, like I said, doesn't make up for our position. So we end up giving 30,000 and the county gives 30,000. To help fund that position plus operating supplies,
And it has been a losing process.
quite some time. Yeah. It's been close to 10 years probably, that's been that we.
Thank you. Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Mayor?
All right, thank you. I think Wayne, you got the next one, sell a surplus property.
This is in reference to resolution number 1353. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept an offer to sell surplus city property on Merrill Drive. If you remember back in April,
We do have one citizen comment on this. Yes, it's Joshua Moore.
okay,
Yeah.
Hello, good evening, Councilman. My name is Joshua Moore. I am the owner of Moore's Barber Shop. And I've been operating out of the old gas station next to the Hotel Seville for the next month is 2 years. Through steady work and hard work and everything, I have purchased my first property in the area. And it just happened to be 119 North Spring Street, which is the building that parcel is butting up right up next to. I just closed on the building about 3 weeks ago. And I am motioning us to maybe stop the sale to have a survey done to see where my property lines fall, to see if that's in me, if it's the purchase. I'm understanding and aware of Fraley's building being sold and Harness Roofing going in there and doing all that. I'm looking for a piece of property for my clients to be able to park their car at while I tend to them at my barber shop. So that's the only reason. I didn't know that it was up. Maybe it was sent out to the previous owner that maybe this parcel was being sold. And I just, like I said, want to know what I purchased and where the line's drawn in the sand. That's about it.
So that's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I just purchased it, like I said, about 3 weeks ago.
Of course, there is no survey.
I assume we didn't get a survey on what you purchased.
No, sir. No, sir.
Well, okay, you Mr. Moore, if we do decide that, I assume it would be contingent on you getting the survey yourself to pay for it.
Yes, sir.
There's no need for us to do that.
Sure, I'd say.
Well, I mean, we would want to know what we're being accurate in what we're selling.
Well, but again, there's an already an agreement between parties for what we're buying and selling. But if a party wants to know exactly and have a survey, then I've got a survey.
We have a legal description that actually is a lot and block. And that lot is what we're talking about, actually half of that lot. And the only question, I could see him having a question if that lot went all the way to the building.
Right.
Yeah, it buttoned up, and then at the end of my building where I purchased it, it has hand inked, it says reserved on it.
Yeah.
So
Actually, I was in that building 4 years ago, and that same sign was there, and nobody ever parked there. But I understand his concern. And if you're more than willing to pay for the survey, I would recommend to the council that we
absolutely,
that we table this. And again, I like the offer we have. And I don't think there's a big rush. And what was your next? Because
am I privileged to know what that offer was?
Okay,
That was would be one question, and then the other one was, I really think, I mean, eventually would have been to come and propose to you guys in the city that,
sure,
eventually to have it paved and to have some stoplighting down there in addition to parking for off the square, for music on the square, and for the farmers markets and everything like
I'll
that.
tell you what, sir, let me make one other comment that might change your mind.
Yes, sir.
That piece of property, we do know, is 30 feet. 30 feet alone is not enough room to park cars. So if you want it, then park cars. The person that really is valuable to is the person that owns the other 30 feet on the other.
Okay.
And that's the person that made the law. So combined, he's got a useful parking. Whereas without it, there's no use, no
I
value.
saw the Harrison downtown email that just sent out.
Sure.
And from my understanding, I don't know how big that lot is, and in his description, it said about 25 to 30 employees. Now, my next question is like, how big, I guess it doesn't matter how big of a parking lot you
Yeah.
need for
The lot
25 to
is-
30.
Well, I can tell you the lot is 60 feet by 150. That's the dimension of the lot. But this parcel is only half of it, which is only 30 feet. And so what do you do with it? The guy next door wants it, it makes a lot of sense. You understand? Now, I would be more than willing to recommend, it's not my decision, that I would recommend that we table this. If you want to do a survey. But what I'm saying is you might be wasting your money because when it comes back, if it's 30 feet,
Okay,
you know, there's only one guy that can utilize that 30 feet, in my opinion.
okay, yeah, I'm just was trying to plant roots and grow my business and to have somewhere for my, because if not, then my business will suffer and people will have to park down the road, along the street and everywhere else, because I just don't have any room.
I understand.
And I wouldn't have purchased the building if I didn't know that there wouldn't have been ample parking.
Sure.
So, but from my understanding, you sent out stuff to probably maybe the prior owner of the building, and maybe it just didn't get, because I only closed on the building about 3 months
I
ago.
know.
So, that was
Make
it.
a motion to table the issue until.
You go ahead, counsel.
Second.
Okay, thank you guys.
Do we not need to vote on that?
We do, yeah, what do we want to do?
Vote, I've made a motion to table the issue and Wayne seconded that.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second?
Yes.
Okay, we have a second by Wayne. Any further discussion?
Mr. Moore, you might need to, Mr. Harness and have a discussion with him, and if you both could utilize the property, that might resolve this as well.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we're gonna table it. Please let us know if you decide not to get a survey or just keep us informed. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, good.
All right, Mayor, it's back to me, and we're gonna move to resolution number 1354. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement with the AF Legacy We Live Incorporated for such real properties and for other purposes. And earlier tonight, we were handed out a copy of that lease agreement.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the resolution for the lease agreement with 1354.
Second.
Have a motion in the second discussion.
How does this, I know that, Chief Grady, you're using the old city administration building for training.
Along with Chief Lowry, please.
Okay, so how does this impact that at all, or does it in the lease? Doesn't, then no. I was in Bentonville at the Walmart Museum, where they had Mr. Walton's pickup and things like that. And it was odd that somebody there mentioned to me, we were standing in line, they said, where were we from? I said, Harrison. And they said, isn't that where Sheridan Garrison started FedEx Freight? And I said, yes. And they said, wouldn't that be great to have something in Harrison like this? And I said, sure would, if somebody would put one in. And there he is, sitting in the back. Anyway, that's it.
Okay. So we had, we're down to discussion, no more discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Wayne,
Okay, Mayor, my next one is resolution number 1355, and I believe Luke is up to explain this one.
Yeah, just kind of back up, with that December financials that we talked about, every year we have to adjust. Our budget to the actual finances, it's something the legislative auditors make us do, I'm not sure why, but it's state law, so. We do it, and we have to do it by resolution, so that's what I'm coming to ask you to approve. Adjusting our financial statements adjusting our budget to the actual numbers in our financial statements.
So did you come up with a zero back variance?
Yes.
They're not, I figured that. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 1355.
Second.
okay, got a motion and a second, discussion.
Okay, if we look at the December financials and pointed out, prior to the year, when you joined this out, we built a building with a deficit of $75,000. And that,
And the building, I mean, how much was the building, just so that we're,
$950,000. Yeah,
that we won't have again.
one time, that's why I'm asking the question, pointing it out. And so the police, we had a deficit of $7,131.
Correct.
No comments, no state, that, like I say, I'm glad you pointed that out, I was gonna point it out.
Sorry.
Need to make, no, I wanna make sure that people make informed decisions, and the more information we give them, in fact, what I hope they do is they get so much information, they go, hey, this is too much, I'm gonna make my decision based on this. And they filter through it. So, to me, it's important that we're not hiding anything, correct? These are available for anybody that wants to see.
Thanks.
So, and then one could add, so if you're at a 275 deficit, and you add that 900 back in, then you're gonna be over 700.
So, yeah, so
So where would
the
we,
net activity, just for regular there, because I believe we spent some of it in the prior year. So that net right there was $431,000 surplus, and, yeah, I mean, that's an off year, I mean, that's more than what we would typically do. However, we are gonna bank that, because I'm sure we've got to buy a new fire truck sometime. And those are about $600,000 to $700,000.
That's the other point I was gonna make, this is a one-time expense for maybe 25 years. Before we build another fire station south of town and north of town, that number 3 doesn't work. But you will have, how long is an engine or a ladder lasting?
15 years now,
Okay, so when was the last one? Was it 5 years ago?
18, 19.
Was the last ladder truck?
No, we lost an engine in 19.
Oh, 2019, I thought it was 19 years.
No, this is the last engine.
So we're 7 years and we've got 7 to 8 years left. Then,
Right on that, but I've got one that's sitting there at 15 years right now.
so
Yeah.
we may have a $600,000 or $700,000 expense between now and 2 years from now.
Definitely, and then that's gonna have to be, because when those trucks were purchased, that was kind of in the previous administration, so they lumped up. And so they're all within a year or two apart, and so they're all gonna start falling apart at the same time, so I'm trying to get a cycle of doing it.
How many engines do we have?
4.
We have 4 engines. And then how many ladder trucks do we have?
1.
So you have an average, the ladder truck's $1.2 million, right?
It should last 20-25 years,
And we just bought it,
right? Yeah.
and that was purchased when?
21? 21, 22, I can't remember the top of it.
Mary Jean would know.
Yes, she could tell.
You may not know, but Mary Jean would know.
That's right.
So I'm just trying to make sure we get a cadence that we understand that we're not free for 10 years. Probably in 2 years and probably 5 years after that. That's still, there's a lot of money in that budget. Right?
Okay.
But we're gonna spend $600,000 or $700,000 probably in 2 years.
In about, in 2 years, we'll maybe more than that, unless if they're going up.
Okay.
So if you take all of our just engines and rescue truck and ladder truck, when you look at that kind of a per year basis, you're right at about $250,000 to $300,000 a year as versus life.
Yeah, that's good, that's a good number then.
Yeah, versus life expectancy.
How much is a rescue truck?
Depends on what you buy, you know, this last one was it was about 250,000 for that, and it was a demo unit that was 3 years old.
Okay, so, and how many miles did we put on our fire truck in 2019, roughly? You know, any idea? We're putting more miles
Probably
on
need to go
now.
off of hours than miles.
Okay, so let's go to hours. Are we using, or we're putting more hours now that we're going on more county runs or runs outside the city?
Yes. You compound that between that and medical calls, between both of them, we're using these both a lot.
Okay, so, and see, that's the kind of numbers, I would like to know the hours that we spend on our vehicles in service over the last several years and compare that with spending and budgeting.
And those numbers I'm giving you too, the 250 to 300,000, that's today's pricing. I have no idea what next year's pricing could be.
I don't know if you've heard property taxes. So it's going to be that way. We're never going, you're not gonna see, I mean, an automobile, the average price of an automobile last year, the average price of the automobile is down 50,000. Probably not gonna get to 30.
No.
You may buy a used one for 30. But, you know, that's just the nature of some of this stuff. And I'm not trying to get advocate one way or the other, and I don't want to delay this. I just want to make sure everybody understands. We're gonna have to buy a new fire truck in 2 to 3 years.
Okay,
We have a motion and a second, I believe, Mayor.
a motion and a second, I think we've been in discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
Okay, Mayor, the next one on my list, the ordinance for fixed asset, ordinance 1554. An ordinance establishing a policy defining fixed assets for the city of Harris. Luke?
So, we're coming to you asking to increase the fixed asset policy. Since I've been here, the fixed asset policy is that we add those to our depreciation schedule after $2,500. As we've been discussing all evening, $2,500 is a supply nowadays. So, I'm asking that we at least raise it to $5,000. It's more of a administration issue.
Housekeeping.
Yes, housekeeping item that we need to, in my recommendation, move to $5,000. There's some people that have moved to 10. I'm just keeping it at 5 for now.
I started to ask you what standard right now, what municipal league saying.
Larger cities are probably closer to 10. Smaller cities are closer to 2,500. So I'm kind of going for that middle ground for now until I see any kind of change in what we're looking at.
And this is still a pre-read ordinance, I said.
It is. Yeah, so it's just asking for first reading tonight too.
Make a motion, we suspend the rules and place ordinance number 1554 and its first reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, discussion.
On the 5,000, I know this would have passed. So is that just your discretion in making that purchase? Or is it?
No, that's so every department would have that threshold. And so as we go through our system, it flags anything over $2,500 currently. And so then we have to go through and look everything over $2,500. Does it have a life of 2 or more years? You know, I would love for that to be 5 years at least, but right now that's kind of our policy is to just do 2 or more years. So now we're just kind of bumping up that threshold. So we're not looking through supply lines that have, you know, kind of run that. And right now, correct me if I'm wrong, turnouts are how much?
They're just a coat of pencil about that.
Yeah, so that's still gonna be classified as equipment.
Because you're gonna buy a set, they don't gonna say, I mean.
They don't, but when you look at it as an entirety, the auditor's gonna say. That's an asset, because it's gonna last more than a year, more than 2 years, and it costs more than $2,500.
Does this impact your over-year spending on the city much either way?
No, it does not. Yes.
A lot of housekeeping.
So that the department head would be one.
Yeah, we're required to track it for legislative audit purposes.
You see by anywhere. It'd be by invoice, I mean, like, if you're invoiced for more than $5,000, that's a determining
That,
factor.
well, that's what checks the box, and then you have to look and see if you bought 26 widgets at, $1,000 a piece. That would get a flag, but it's not something we have to asset because it's not more than $5,000 a piece.
So what about repairs, capitalizing those?
We do some, mainly the big ticket items, like whenever we upgrade the sewer treatment plant. If we have to repair that, like we got a UV filter, I believe, go down.
Some UV back in UV lights.
There you go. But it's extended the life of our asset, so, when we do that, we do capitalize that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Anyone opposed?
An ordinance establishing a policy defining fixed assets for the city of Harrison, Arkansas.
Okay. Wayne?
Okay, my next one goes into old business, ones that we've been working on previously. The first one is ordinance number 1551. An ordinance vacating alley right away within the Highland Park subdivision. And tonight, we're placing this on its third and final reading.
Make a motion, we suspend the rules, place ordinance number 1551 on its third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Ordinance number 1551, an ordinance vacating alley right of way within the Highland Park subdivision.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
All right, Mayor, my next one is ordinance calling for a special election for the sales tax. It's ordinance number 1552.
And, Mr. Cohen,
Yes.
before discussion, Chuck Smith wanted to address this item.
Okay,
Okay. Got it.
Morning, Council. Evening. So, my name is Chuck Smith, and I was born and raised here in Harrison. And I had the luxury of working for the city for a little over 10 years back in the 90s and the 2000s in the police department. Since then, I spent the last 20 years at one of the big corporations here in town, and now I'm a small business owner here. So during, budget meeting before this, there was some discussion on budget cuts, police and fire equipment and training. And, I wasn't sure I was gonna be able to make tonight's meeting, so I didn't sign up to speak to that, but I wanted to speak as a member of the public for that. Training can't be cut. If you've walked those shoes and you've been Chief Grady's position back then, we didn't have the best training or any training sometimes back then. You set yourself up for lawsuits. You set yourself up for people getting hurt or killed in the line of duty, or your citizens in those same shoes. Training goes hand in hand with equipment. I would not be in those shoes of not wanting to make that call to somebody's spouse saying that they were killed in the line of duty because of old equipment that wasn't replaced, or training from somebody that was working next to somebody, or on the worst end of that, the general public is on the bad end of the situation that could have been turned out better by training or equipment. Just wanted to express my support for the tax. It's not going to affect everybody in a year's time, what it could cost the citizens here. If something bad goes happen, something bad happens. That's really just kind of what I wanted to say. It's everybody kind of needs to look at the big picture. Dollars are dollars, but a life is a life. And you're not going to save $30,000 in training or equipment that would save somebody's life on our end as an employee, or a citizen even want to get from, the help from the employees. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, make a motion that we suspend the rules and place, ordinance 1552 on its second and third readings by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Again, just to be clear, training wasn't, I wasn't talking about petty training, okay?
Right.
But if it's not necessary, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, and I just meant in general, like some of the general public's views on, will they go to this or that? You know, because there was, back in my time was there, you know, there was a little training, and then further in my career, we started getting more training. And from walking those shoes of, you know, like you said, when you come in off the street and you don't know anything, you go through your FBO program, you go through the academy, and then you come back and you're riding the FBO for a while and you're learning all the ropes. There is so much that changes legislatively or just learning how to deal with a situation that you've not had before. If you have a barricaded suspect, something like that. If you have, okay, in your mind, do I have the right to break this door to go in to stop someone from getting killed, or am I gonna get sued for coming in the house when I don't have the legal right? There's so much, not everybody knows how much you walk through the shoes, saving a life or putting the city in liability for losses. And things like that, I didn't mean, you know, that you're saying cutting all, there's so many perceptions of dollars, where they're spent, what they're spent for. So I know the classes that you go to and you think, and we just had a day off, you know, we read that class, but you didn't really bring a whole lot to it. But, you know, back in those days, I was one of our instructors, our MPOs, and I went to those training classes and came back and returned to training here. We hosted some trainings back then, like Chief Grady does now. And you know, like I said, dollars are dollars, and you can't always learn the best way through Zoom, even meetings, and, you know, people will turn their camera off and they don't really pay attention, you know what I mean, human nature. And it's not just a profession, that's just in general. If you're sitting there in a classroom with an instructor, I learned better hands-on, you know, even in my previous career that I just left. We had Zoom calls, that's when everything, you know, 2020, everything turned to Zoom. And I'm more of a hands-on learner, so I missed those meetings where we sit down at a round table or boardroom table, and we were discussing things, going through them, as opposed to being on call. And if you had a question, you know, we might get the hands up on there to make the call. But
I get it. Good. So I just wanted you to make sure.
Yeah, no,
I understand. I don't think we're talking about cutting training. I was just.
No, but some people might have that thought.
Yeah.
Of they go to too much and training.
I mean, it can be too much if it's not necessary. I think we're all in agreement there.
Right.
That, I mean, there is a number, or there is a too much to it.
Sure.
If it's not necessary, if it's repeated information, I mean, that's not needed.
Right. And the only thing I might add, and I'll shut up on that one, was like in law enforcement world, there's so many different areas where you could train every month and not hit it all for a year. You know, like Chief Grady, you got some psychotics, portion, you got criminal law and civil law where you open yourself up to liability. There's internals to where you've got policies that can set you up for liabilities, and then just your, you know, knocking off all your different laws that it's a.
And that's different. I mean, different people are going to different trainings, it's not the same people. So I'm just something completely different. So yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, we're still in discussion. I want to point out we're going with the second and third reading tonight, and I apologize. I missed the last one, last city council meeting because my granddaughter was graduating from nursing school and is now going to be taking care of all of us. You're in good hands. But that being said, we had to rewrite part of this, and we went with the first reading last time. Due to the timing, we had to do the second and third tonight to get this to where we can be put on the ballot. There's been a lot of discussion. I hope, again, I would urge the citizens of Harrison to get as much information that they can. The city administration will share with you. And if whether you vote against it or for it, This is not an increase in the tax. We need to make sure everybody understands. We're currently at the level, you're not gonna see more money going to the city than, that it did before. Through the tax, at least, rate itself. So,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay,
For the reading, Mayor, ordinance number 1552, an ordinance calling a special election in the city of Harrison, Arkansas on the question of levying a 0.25% local sales and use tax for the purpose of maintaining police, fire, and other general services and prescribing other matters pertaining thereto and declaring an emergency.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Make a motion, we enact suspend the rules and enact the emergency clause.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay,
All right, Mayor, my next one is ordinance number 1553. This will be on the second and third reading. Also, this is the ordinance levying sales tax.
Make a motion, Council, Mr. Mayor, that we suspend the rules to place ordinance number 1553 on its second, third reading, if it comes up by title only.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and discussion, yeah, do we have a discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed?
Ordinance number 1553, an ordinance providing for the levy of a 0.25% sales and use tax within the city of Harrison, Arkansas, for the purpose of maintaining police, fire, and other general services and prescribing other matters pertaining thereto.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Mr. Mayor, Council, will make a motion that we suspend the rules in place when it's 1553, that we enact the emergency clause.
Second.
Okay, discussion? All in
One
favor?
moment, is there an emergency clause in ordinance 1553? I'm unfamiliar with it. With there being one.
You were right.
Yeah, it says
Oh, there
for
is.
an emergency.
Section 6. Section 6 of the ordinance. Or at least the copy I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the words clause.
Okay. Thank you for answering that question. Makes it easy.
You're not-
Until after we.
Stop me online, that show numbers.
I have a question up front. If we did have a motion to adopt.
Mhm.
And you not.
Yes,
We made it.
Yeah, I know.
Been second,
Yeah, but
So we also have a motion to act the emergency clause.
right,
And that's where we are.
that's where we are.
Mhm.
So. This is part
So
of the passage of an emergency clause. Can't be enacted.
it doesn't matter.
Go out there. Are we ready?
Good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just asking a question. I didn't draft this ordinance and so my question would be. The levying doesn't take place unless approved by the voters, so I was just, didn't realize there would be an emergency put there. So,
Well, do we need to enact an emergency clause, or does it need to be in the title to be? Valid?
it's. Not required to be in the title in that it's published in its full.
They did it immediately.
I didn't
In
propose it.
effect,
Uh-huh.
rather than 30 days out. Would it hurt to enact the emergency clause?
It does not. The actual levying would not take place unless it's voted upon.
Sure.
It may be that the emergency clause is required so that we meet the deadline for posting to the ballot.
That's right.
That may be likely.
Yeah.
I just want to be sure council understands and the public understands the tax is not levied as a result of an emergency clause in a sped up fashion, only if it's approved and carried forward.
I think that we should do that and be consistent with everything else that we've done, there's no question. We do have a motion and a second, and I call for a vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Mayor, that's all I have today.
All right, hey, what we're about there?
Uh,
Got any?
Yeah, the citizen comments, Jesse Ruff
Jesse,
would like to address the council.
come on up.
Hello? Okay, hello. First thing, I would like to personally do something before I talk about a subject I want to talk about. Mr. Magnus, sorry, Mr. Joe Jackson. I, in the past, have, spoke to you by your first names instead of properly, and I apologize for that. The reason I do that is because my family's known you guys for many, many years, and I don't mean to disrespect you. And one more, he's not here today, Mr. Dan Sherrill. I yelled at him one time in the city council meeting appropriately because I was frustrated. And it was very disrespectful, and my father would hit him in the back of the head if he was here. So I apologize. I'm here today because I wish my dad was here. He could help me through this. Education is very important. Everybody's different, everybody.
Just a reminder, you have a limited amount of time.
Yes, sir, I will.
And it's
That's all I have?
half gone, yeah.
Oh, heavens.
I'm sorry.
I guess I'll have to sit down and talk with somebody sometimes. I have like a really good idea and I think it would really benefit the community. And I really would need a chance to speak. And I just wanted the opportunity to say in front of everybody so everybody would understand what I was saying and not just be quick statements here and there or partial thoughts, no misunderstandings, and just something I think that would really benefit the city of Harrison, the people of Harrison. And I guess I just need that opportunity sometime. And I don't mean to take up your time. You know, it's just, I have a really good idea. I have a good idea about the AI, how AI affects our community, affects the internet. Everything that we do, everybody's got a phone in their pocket now. It affects your spirit, your heart. It affects your, how you work. It's directly affecting us all the way around today. And it affects your city as well. And it affects people's decisions if they come to your community, if they spend money in your community. It's just really got a presence, and there's been a deep study over the last 20 years. And it's just really true. It's happening. We're in the age of AI and everything's changing. And, you know, teaching our kids and showing them the values that we all have. And
Okay, so your time is,
Yes,
if you
sir.
contact our office, we're happy.
But I would really like for it to be maybe recorded and aired so everybody can hear it instead of it being a conversation just between two people. I would really like that opportunity because I really think it would help the community. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you. I don't want to take up your time.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you. So the buzzer is no longer.
It does, for some reason it's not working. I'll have to talk to David about
Do you
that.
have any?
Yes, there is one more Tom Bowie to talk about crime prevention.
Yes, something that's on the mind of a lot of people today. They've come up with whole new technologies to surveil people. A lot of people say it's intrusive, and a lot of people says it's being abused. They're right, but we have a lot more crime. I'm a person who believes in compromise. People generally don't like my compromise because they tend to hit both sides hard. From my perspective, because the only time I've had a crime committed against me in Harrison was when my constitutional rights were violated by the police. That is a crime. Failure to address it, which happened, is also a crime. How about this compromise? we turn those body cams into the only surveillance system. AI technology can blur out the faces of people, thereby preventing any problem with interfering with a person's life. And not only can the criminals on the street be monitored, the criminals behind the badge can be monitored. That's where I spend it. I've come after being used in that way to think of the police is this armed, standing army the founding fathers warned us about.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Let's go to the house.
Thank you. We're adjourned. Fresh, hey,